To live and to survive is the ultimate goal of every living thing on Earth. Different organisms have different ways to survive. Animals and humans use various body parts, each with their own mechanisms to help carry out life processes. Body parts and organ systems work together in harmonious relationship to achieve homeostasis in one's body. All animals have specific body parts to help them adapt and survive in their environment. And that's what we're gonna discuss in this presentation. It is all about how animals survive.
Hi, my name is Leila Cristal Mahil, and I will be reporting about the digestion in animals. But first, what is digestion? Digestion is the process by which the organisms break down food into forms that their cells may absorb and use. Different animals have different ways on how they digest their food. So digestion in animals. The first animal that we are going to talk about are the cnidarians. O ang mga cnidarians ay mga hayop na ating matatagpuan sa dagat, tulad na lamang ng jellyfish at ng hydra. Cnidarians have a very simple body structure. They have an incomplete digestive tract, one that consists of only one opening. Digestion and excretion of undigested food occur in their gastrovascular cavity. Cnidarians are carnivores that uses tentacles to capture their prey. Their tentacles are armed with cnidocytes. Cnidocytes are unique cells that function in defense and the capture of prey. At sa loob ng cnidocytes na ito, matatagpuan natin ang nematosis. So, nematosis consists of toxic chemicals to puncture, paralyze, and entrap their prey. So, let's remember, sa cnidarians, they have a stinging cell. Ito ang cnidocytes. And sa cnidocytes, matatagpuan ang nematosis na nagko-contain ng toxic chemical na kung saan yun ang ginagamit nila para lasunin or mastan at makapture yung kanilang prey. The cells lining this cavity or the gastrovascular cavity secrete digestive enzymes for extracellular digestion. Some nutritive cells have flagella that move the food around the cavity, and some has eudopods that engulf food particles. Next, ating pag-usapan ang earthworms. The digestive tract of an earthworm or annelids is a long tube. This tube is considered as a complete digestive tract. Why? Because it has an entry for food, which is the mouth, and an exit for waste, which is the anus. An earthworm's digestive system consists of mouth, pharynx, esophagus, crop, gizzard, intestine, and anus. First, they eat soil containing organic matter such as decaying plants. As the earthworm burrows into the ground, its mouth ingests the soil with its food. Okay, so from the mouth, the food moves to the pharynx, esophagus, and then to the crop where it is temporarily stored. And next to the crop is the gizzard, which is made up of thick muscular wall that grinds up the food. Okay, the rest of the digestion is continued in the intestine where the chemical digestion and absorption of broken down food happens. Absorption of nutrients is enhanced by the large fold in the upper surface of the intestine called typlosol. Intestine naman matatagpuan natin ang isang large fold na tinatawag na typlosol kung saan ini-enhance o mas pinahuhusay na yung digestion at or absorption ng broken down food. And then lastly, lahat ng undigested food or castings ay kanila nang ini-excrete sa anus. Ang next natin pag-uusapan ay ang digestive system ng grasshopper. Ang grasshopper ay parte ng isang pinakamalaking grupo ng hayop sa mundo, which is ang arthropods. So, ang digestive system ng isang grasshopper ay nahahati sa tatlong region.
Ang foregut, midgut, and hindgut.
Tandaan natin, when we say foregut, from the word itself, fore, meaning nasa harapan. Midgut, meaning ay nasa middle. And hindgut, from the word itself, hind, na nangangahulugang nasa likuran.
The foregut includes the mouth, esophagus, crop, and gizzard.
The grasshopper has a specialized mouth stomach parts for tasting, biting, and chewing food. The food then passes through their pharynx and continues to the narrow thin-walled esophagus. The canal then enlarges into the crop. If you can remember, yung crop ay isang parang bag kung saan they temporarily stored yung in-intake nila ng food. Then below the crop lies a pair of salivary glands branching out to the mouth which produce saliva that aids digestion. The crop opens into a short, muscular organ called gizzard or proventriculus. Gizzard helps in grinding the food. The midgut consists of the stomach or ventriculus. It is lined by peritrophic membrane that protects the stomach wall from abrasion caused by the digestion of food. Near the gizzard and the stomach are 6 pairs of gastric sacae, where microbes aid in the digestion of cellulose. So, itong mga gastric sacae daw ay parang mga pouch-like structure na naglalabas ng digestive enzymes sa stomach na nakakatulong sa pagda-digest ng food.
And lastly is the hindgut. Hindgut includes all the intestine parts.
The anterior ileum, middle colon, and posterior rectum, which leads to the anus. Connected to the stomach and ileum are numerous long tubules, called Malpighian tubules, which serve as the main excretory organ of the grasshopper.
Okay, so dumako naman tayo sa digestive system ng humans.
Human body system ay tinatawag rin natin gastrointestinal tract. So, ang ating gastrointestinal tract ay may measure or may haba ng 9 meters long or about 30 feet. Meaning, yung ating digestive system pala ay pag in-extend mo sila, ganun pala sila kahaba, 30 feet long. Our GI tract consists of buccal cavity, esophagus, stomach, small and large intestines, rectum, and anus. So, found in the mouth or the oral cavity, the tongue and the teeth work together to digest the food mechanically. Mechanically meaning sa physical aspect pa lang ng food. So, ang ating oral cavity ay mayroong salivary glands. Itong salivary glands, nagproproduce sila ng saliva with amylase. Isang enzyme na tumutulong para ma-digest yung starch sa food. So, the partially digested food, o tinatawag na bolus, ay nilulunok. And then, dadalo ito sa pharynx, or sa Tagalog, ay lalamunan, or yung throat, before going to the esophagus. So, yung bolus na yon, o yung ninguya mong pagkain, magproproceed na siya sa stomach, where it is both mechanically and chemically digested. So, yung stomach natin, parang siyang sack. It's like a sack-like organ, about twice the size of our clenched fist. So, it is made of strong muscles responsible for churning the food that we intake. Digestive enzymes and gastric juice are secreted in the stomach to aid the digestion of the bolus. The acidic environment of the stomach are about pH 2 to 3. pH, ito yung potential of hydrogen. So, pH 2 to 3 starts the activation of pepsinogen and becomes the active enzyme, pepsin, and also kills some germs. So, pag ganun na yung pH level, meaning acidic na po siya. Yung bolus, mixed with the stomach acids, becomes a soupy mixture. And that mixture, we call it as chyme. Okay, next. So, digestion of food is completed in the small intestine. Bile is also released in the small intestine. Ito yung tumutulong para mas mag-break down yung fats. So, yung bile po pala ay naproproduce siya sa ating liver at nai-store siya sa gallbladder. Okay, so once digested is completed, ang villi, matatagpuan natin sa lower part ng intestine, ay ina-absorb na lahat ng digested food. So, each vilus contains capillaries. And itong capillaries na to, nag-a-absorb ng amino acids, vitamins, carbohydrates, and a lymphatic vessel called lacteal, which absorbs the fatty acids and glycerol. And meron ding microvilli, kung saan siya yung nagpapa-increase ng rate of absorption ng nutrients. Okay? So, syempre, kung may small intestine, mayroon ding large intestine. So, large intestine absorbs water and expels waste through the anus.
I'm John Lloyd Armincha. Respiration. The exchange of the respiratory gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide between the external environment and the organism, body or cell. In simple definition, animals intake oxygen and release carbon dioxide. It is also known as breathing. How animals respire. In simple animals such as sponges and hydra, the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide occurs in their body, in their cell on their body surface. These animals have no respiratory system in the body. The respiration occurs when the water passes through the organism body cavity. Together with the food substance, the oxygen carried inside the body is absorbed by the cell. Sabi nga dito, ang mga hayop tulad ng sponges at hydra, ang pagpapalitan ng oxygen at carbon dioxide ay nangyayari sa ibabaw ng kanilang katawan. Ang mga hayop na ito ay walang respiratory system sa katawan. Ang paghinga ay nangyayari kapag ang tubig ay nadaan sa cavity ng katawan ng organism. Kasama ng food substance, ang oxygen na dinadala sa loob ng katawan ay nihigop ng cell. Some animals, their respiration occurred in their moist skin surface when oxygen carried by the hemoglobin dissolved in the blood. Same way in carbon dioxide releasing through the skin on external environment. These animals are earthworms and flatworms. Ang ilang mga hayop doon ay naganap ang paghinga sa kanilang basang balat kung saan ang oxygen na dala ng hemoglobin ay natutunaw sa dugo sa parehong paraan sa carbon dioxide na naglalabas sa balat sa panlabas na kapaligiran. Ang mga hayop na ito ay ang mga earthworms at flatworms. Animals living in the water such as fish gas exchange occurs with the help of special organs called gills. Oxygen and carbon dioxide dissolved in water and moist fishes exchange dissolved oxygen and carbon dioxide in water. Ang mga hayop na umaalis sa tubig tulad ng isda, ang gas exchange ay nangyayari sa tulong ng mga special na organism na tinatawag na hasang. Ang oxygen at carbon dioxide ay natutunaw sa tubig at karamihan sa mga isda ay nagpapalit ng dissolved oxygen at carbon dioxide sa tubig. Thank you.
Circulation. Circulation is essential for animals because it transports nutrients and oxygen throughout the body and removes waste products. So, yung circulation is mahalaga para mapanatiling malusog at buhay ang katawan natin mga tao at hayop. Circulation in animals. There are two types of circulation in animals, which are the closed and open circulation. In closed circulation, blood flows through blood vessels, while in open circulation, hemolymph flows directly to the body cells. So, sa closed circulation, yung dugo is dumadaloy sa loob ng mga ugat like arteries, veins, and capillaries. This system ensures that blood remains enclosed within these vessels as it travels to various parts of the body. The blood moves at a higher pressure, allowing for efficient transport of oxygen, nutrients, and waste products to and from tissues and organs. For example, earthworm. The blood of earthworm is contained within vessels which are the dorsal and ventral. The blood flows through dorsal and ventral blood vessels transporting nutrients and oxygen. The blood flows from the posterior to the anterior end through the ventral blood vessels, and from the anterior to the posterior end through the dorsal blood vessel. So the auxiliary hearts, often called the aortic arches, help pump blood throughout their body. Then, sa open circulation naman, it happens when there are no vessels to contain the blood, and it flows freely through the cavities of the body. In this system, the heart pumps hemolymph into open sinuses or spaces where it surrounds the tissues and organs, allowing for the exchange of nutrients, gases, and waste. The dorsal is divided into a posterior heart that contains intake valves called the ostia and an anterior aorta. The open space of the body is called hemocyte. It is filled with insect blood, hemolymph. Hemolymph is pumped forward by the heart through the aorta into the head and flows back through the body in the open hemocyte. The hemolymph re-enters the posterior heart through the ostial valves and the cycle repeats.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rian Kasim and have been assigned to report of human circulation. Circulation in humans. Humans have a closed circulatory system with a heart that pumps blood composed of plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Through arteries, veins, and capillaries, the heart is about the size of a clench, fast, and beats 70 times per minute. Ang ating katawan ay may sariling sistema ng sirkulasyon na tinatawag na closed circulatory system. Ang sistema na ito ay nagsimula sa puso na siyang nagpalipat-lipat ng dugo sa buong katawan. Ang dugo ay binubuo ng plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Ang plasma, ito ang liquid components of blood na nagdadala ito ng mga nutrients, hormones, at mga waste products. Ang red blood cells nagdadala ng oxygen mula sa lungs papunta sa iba't ibang bahagi ng katawan. Ang white blood cells, bahagi ng immune system na lumalaban sa mga infection. Ang platelets tumutulong sa pamumuo ng dugo para mapigilan ang pagdurugo. Ang puso ay nagpalipat-lipat ng dugo sa pamamagitan ng tatlong uri ng daluyan. Ang una dito ay ang arteries. Ang arteries ay nagdadala ng dugo palayo sa puso. Ang pangalawa ay ang veins. Ang veins naman ay nagdadala ng dugo pabalik sa puso. Ang pangatlo ay yung capillaries. Ang capillaries ay maliit na daluyan ng dugo kung saan nagaganap ang palitan ng mga nutrients and gases sa pagitan ng dugo at mga cells. Ang puso ay parang malakas na bomba na patuloy na tumitibok at kasing laki ng nakayukom na kamao at tumitibok ng 70 beses kada minuto. Oxygenated blood travels through arteries to the body cells and returns to the heart through veins. Blood circulates through the body via coronary, pulmonary, renal, and hepatic circulation. Ang dugo may oxygenated blood ay dumadaloy mula sa puso patungo sa mga body cells sa pamamagitan ng mga arteries. Pagkatapos, ang deoxygenated blood ay bumabalik sa puso sa pamamagitan ng mga veins. Ang coronary ay nagbibigay ng dugo sa puso mismo. At ang pulmonary para sa pagpapalitan ng oxygen at carbon dioxide sa baga. Ang renal ay para sa pagsasala ng dugo sa bato. At ang hepatic para sa pagproseso ng mga sustansya at pag-alis ng mga lason sa atay. Lahat ng ito ay mahalaga para sa wastong pagana ng katawan. There are two main circulatory routes, the pulmonary and systemic circulation. Sa pulmonary circulation ay dugo na galing sa puso papunta sa lungs para kumuha ng oxygen at pagkatapos ay bumabalik ulit ito sa puso. Then sa systemic circulation naman ay dugo galing sa puso papunta sa iba't ibang bahagi ng katawan para magdala ng oxygen at nutrients sa body cells. Umabalik ulit ito sa puso pagkatapos maghatid ng oxygen at nutrients sa body cells.
So ito ang function ng circulation in human's blood. Ang dugo na walang oxygen mula sa katawan ay pumapasok sa right atrium sa pamamagitan ng superior vena cava mula sa itaas ng bahagi ng katawan. At inferior vena cava mula sa ibabang bahagi ng katawan. Ang dugo ay dumadaloy mula sa right atrium papunta sa tricuspid valve dito sa gitna. Papunta sa right ventricle. Ang right ventricle ay nagpapalabas ng dugo na walang oxygen sa pamamagitan ng pulmonary artery. Papunta sa mga capillaries of the lungs, both left and right.
Yan. In the lungs capillaries, nagaganap ang pagpapalitan ng gas. Ang carbon dioxide ay inilabas mula sa dugo at oxygen ay nasipsip or is absorbed. Ang dugo na may oxygen na ngayon ay dumadaloy mula sa lungs, dumadaan sa pulmonary veins, pulmonary veins, papunta sa left atrium. Mula sa left atrium, ang dugo ay dumadaan sa mitral valve. Ang mitral valve ay gitna ng left ventricle at left atrium. Sa gitna. Ang left ventricle ay nagpapalabas ng dugo na may oxygen sa pamamagitan ng aorta papunta sa iba pang bahagi ng katawan. Yan. Ang dugo na may oxygen ay umaabot sa mga capillaries in the head, forelimbs, abdominal organs, and hind limbs. Dito. At dito. Upper and lower extremities. Mga pangitaas ng paa, mga organs sa tiyan at mga pang-ibabang paa. Here, oxygen and nutrients are delivered to the body's tissues, and waste products like carbon dioxide are picked up. The deoxygenated blood then returns to the heart via the vena cava, completing the cycle.
Hello everyone, my name is Abisamis Martanjan. The topic that I will discuss today is all about excretion. What is excretion? Excretion is a biological process by which organisms eliminate waste products of metabolism and other non-useful substances to maintain internal balance. Ang excretion sa mga tao ay ang proseso ng pag-aalis ng mga dumi o basura mula sa katawan na resulta ng metabolismo. Mahalaga ito upang mapanatiling malusog ang katawan at maiwasan ang pagkalason dahil sa naipong basura. Ang main organs na involved sa excretion ay ang kidneys, lungs, liver, at skin. Ang kidneys, nililinis nila ang dugo at inaalis ang sobrang tubig, asin, at urea. Ang mga ito ay inilalabas bilang ihi. Sa baga naman, inaalis nila ang carbon dioxide na isang basurang produkto ng cellular respiration sa pamamagitan ng paghinga. Ang skin naman ang naglalabas ng pawis na binubuo ng tubig, asin at kaunting urea upang makatulong sa pag-regulate ng temperatura ng katawan. Ang panghuli naman ay liver. Ang liver ay tumutulong sa detoxification at nagbabago ng mga nakalalasong substansya tulad ng ammonia upang maging mas ligtas bago ito ilipat sa mga bato para mailabas. Sa excretion in humans, meron tayo ditong kidney, ureter, urinary bladder, urethra at ureter opening. Ang kidney ang naglilinis ng mga dugo at gumagawa ng ihi sa pamamagitan ng pag-aalis ng mga dumi tulad ng urea at sobrang tubig. Ang ureter naman ang daluyan ng ihi mula sa kidney patungo sa pantog gamit ang galaw ng mga kalamnan. Ang urinary bladder ay ang imbakan ng ihi bago ito ilabas sa katawan. Sa utera naman, ang utera ay daluyan ng ihi palabas sa katawan sa tuwing umiihi. At ang ating panghuli naman ay ang ureter opening. Ang ureter opening ang bukasan kung saan pumapasok ang ihi mula ureter papunta sa pantog. Meron din tayong excretion in animals. In animals, this involves the removal of carbon dioxide by the lungs, nitrogenous waste like urea through the kidneys, and excess salts and water through sweat glands or urine. Ginagawa ito ng iba't ibang organo depende sa uri ng hayop, tulad ng kidney sa mammals, gill sa isda, at Malpighian tubulus sa insekto. Ang uri ng waste na inilalabas ay nakadepende sa tirahan ng hayop.
Hi, I'm Chichester Esperer. I'm reporting of immunity system. Immunity, the state or quality of being resistant to a particular infectious disease or pathogen. In simple explanation, immunity is the ability of the body to defend itself against disease-causing organism. Immunity system, a complex network of cells, tissues, organs, and the substance they make that help the body fight infectious and other diseases. Some animals do not have this system, especially with the simple or lower form. Only humans are the most complex. Ang immunity system ay isa sa 12 system ng katawan ng tao. Ito ay isang functional organ system na may trilyong individual na immune cells na naninirahan sa mga lymphatic tissues, sa loob ng katawan at nagpapapalit-palit ng mga likido sa katawan. Kapag epektibong gumagana, pinoprotektahan ng immunity system ang katawan mula sa mga nakakahawang microorganism. Cancer cells, transplant organ, or tissue graft, mayroon itong tatlong linya ng depensa. Physical at chemical na mga hadlang, non-specific o likas na depensa, at tiyak na pagtutol. In the human body, there are three cooperating line defense which quickly react to the new threats. The first line defense is called innate immunity. It is the physical and chemical barriers such as skin mucus, membrane, hair, and the body excretion. First line defense is skin secretion, have a low pH, and are acidic. Ang kaasiman ay pumipigil sa paglaki ng bakterya. Ang sebum ay pumipigil sa paglaki ng bakterya. Okay. First line defense is skin secretion, have a low pH, and are acidic. Ang kaasiman ay pumipigil sa paglaki ng bakterya. Ang sebum na itinatago ng mga oil glands sa balat ay nakakalason sa bakterya. And the shedding of the epidermis, ang tuktok na layer ng balat ay nag-aalis ng microorganism mula sa ibabaw ng katawan. Mucus, throughout the digestive and respiratory tract, ay bitag ng mga microorganismo na pumipigil sa kanila na kumalat pa sa katawan. And ang buhok naman sa ilong ay nagsasala ng hangin at pumipigil sa alikabok at mikrobo na pumasok sa katawan. And second line defense is called innate immunity. The second line of defense is a group of cells, tissues, and organs that work together to protect the body. The second line defense is called interferons, a signaling protein na ginawa ng body cells. Sila ay inaatake ng mga mikrobyo at mga virus. Ang mga cells are white blood cells, neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, monocyte, at natural killer cells. Pati na rin ang inflammatory response, complement, system, protein, and interferons. Ang phagocyte ay may 4 stage, which is makikita nyo dito sa taas ang 4 na features. The first stage is called attachment. Ito ang itsura ng phagocyte kapag na-detect niya na may bacteria na pumasok, didikitan niya agad ito. The second stage is called ingestion. Kapag nadikit na ang bacteria sa plasma membrane, magsisignal ito ang macrophage cells para maglabas ng cells na lalaban dito. Bali, makukulong ang bakterya sa loob ng plasma membrane na tinatawag na pseudopods, magagawa ito ng phagosome. The third stage is called killing. Ang phagosome ay mag-produce ng lysosome at iba pang chemicals na papatay sa bakterya o virus. The fourth and final stage is called degradation. Kapag patay na ang bakterya dahil sa phagolysosome, ilalabas ang patay na bakterya sa loob ng cells. The third line defense is called adaptive immunity. In the third line defense, immune cells such as B cells and T cells target specific antigen or foreign material. B cells differentiate into plasma cells to make antibodies that target specific antigens, neutralizing them and tagging them for destruction. The third line defense is called adaptive. Dahil ang mga cells na ito ay naaalala ang mga virus at bacteria from a time you were previously sick. Germs can display unique marks on their surface na tinatawag na antigens na kinikilala ng mga cells ng adaptive immunity system. And pwede mo din akalain itong birthmark or tattoo, like a detective looking for a suspect. Dendritic cells go to lymph nodes and show the antigens to the B cells and T cells to see if any of them recognize the invading organism. When they do, they recruit other immune cells and release a special protein called antibodies to destroy the germs once and for all. Kung matatanong nyo kung ano yung picture dito sa left side, ito ay B cells and T cells. Ang bone marrow ang nagde-develop ng B cells Kapag ang stem cells lumalabas sa bone marrow, nahati ang B cells sa dalawa. In immature lymphocyte, ang B cells ay may kakayahang mag-mature na tinatawag na plasma cells na nagre-release ng antibodies sa dugo na siyang lalaban sa bakterya. Ito ay dumadaloy sa dugo at nag-i-stay sa lymphatic system ng ibang B cells naman ay nagmamature sa tulong ng T cells helper. Ang T cells ay nabubuo sa bone marrow pero nagmamature siya sa thymus at ito ay may dalang antigen na may dalawang type. Ang T cells, ito ay ang cytotoxic at helper. Ang cytotoxic ang pumapatay sa infected cells na may bacteria o cancer sa pamamagitan ng protein na tinatawag na perforin. Para patayin ang bakterya, ang helper naman ang siya nagbibigay ng signal sa immune system para mag-release ng antigen. Kapag ang antigen kumapit sa B cells na re-recognize ito ng T cells na may antigen, magdidikit ito para palakasin ang activation ng B cells na mag-release ng maraming antibodies na papatay sa bakterya at cancer.
Sensory input and response. Sensory input and response are fundamental to how living organisms interact with their environment and survive. Sensory input refers to the information gathered by an organism's senses, while response refers to the action taken in reaction to that input. So, yung sensory input ay napaka-importante para sa mga living organisms para sa pag nakikipag-communicate or nakikipag-interact sa kanilang paligid at para sa kanilang kaligtasan. Sensory input refers to the information gathered by an organism's senses. So, ang sensory input ay ito yung information na nag-gathered or nakuha ng isang organism senses. So, yung mga organism senses ay tulad ng mata, tenga, ilong, bibig, at saka yung pandaman natin. While the response refers to the action taken in reaction to that input. Simple animals such as sponge have no neuron cells in their body. Therefore, they do not have a nervous system. However, sometimes their whole body contracts with direct contact or pressure via calcium waves. So, yung mga simple animals tulad ng sponge, so ito yung sponge yung nasa left side. Tulad ng sponge, wala silang neuron cells sa kanilang katawan, kaya wala silang nervous system. Jellyfish or hydra, so ang hydra ay itong nasa right side, ito. Hydra. So, and other related animals have no central nervous system. Rather, they have connected nerve cells forming a net-like structure all over their body. So ito yung hydra. Yan. So, nerve net, this nerve net is required for control of spontaneous behavior. Elimination of nerve cells leads to polyps that do not move and are incapable of capturing and ingesting prey. Next is yung C-star. C-star yung radial nerve. Ang radial nerve ay facilitates the movement of multiple arms and numerous tube feet, as well as regeneration of damaged limbs. Next is yung nerve ring. So, ang nerve ring is relays impulses from light, touch, and chemical sensors around its body. Next is the importance of nervous system in animal survival. The nervous system is essential for animal survival because it coordinates and controls most of the body's activities, including responses to environmental stimuli which are crucial for survival. Ang nervous system ay napakakailangan ng mga hayop para sa kanilang kaligtasan dahil ito nagko-coordinates or nagko-control most of their body's activities, including responses to environmental stimuli which are crucial for their survival. So, the human nervous system. The nervous system is essential for sensing, processing of information, and responding to stimuli. Invertebrate animals have different forms of nervous system. On the other hand, vertebrate nervous system consists only of one form, central and peripheral components. The nervous system consists of the brain and the spinal cord. The peripheral nervous system, or PNS, consists all nerves outside the CNS. So, yung invertebrates animals, ito yung mga hayop na walang backbones or bones. Vertebrate is ito yung mga hayop na may backbones at merong mga bones. So, ang next ay the human sensory nervous system. So, ito yung nervous system ng tao. Dendrites, ito yung dendrites. So, yung dendrites is, ang signal o information ay nagsisimula sa dendrites. Na tumatanggap ng electrical or chemical signal mula sa ibang neurons or sensory receptors. Ang mga signal na ito ay naglalakbay papuntang soma. So, ito yung soma. So, ang soma naman or cell body ay ang natanggap na signal mula sa dendrites ay pinagsama-sama at sinusuri kung sapat na lakas nito para maipasa. Kung sapat ang signal na magpadala ito ng electrical multiple, ito ng electrical impulse sa axon. So, ito yung axon. Ito yung axon. So, next is nucleus. Ang nucleus sa loob ng soma ang nagkokontrol sa buong neuron. Tinitiyak na gumagana ng maayos ang cell. Ito rin ang gumagawa ng mga protein at iba pang kailangan para sa komunikasyon ng neuron. So, ito yung axon. So, kapag naproseso na ang signal, ipapadala ito ng axon bilang electrical impulse na tinatawag na action potential mula sa soma patungong axon terminal. So, myelin, ito yung myelin sheath. Myelin ay isang insulating layer na bumabalot sa axon. Pinapabilis nito ang pagdaloy ng electrical signal sa pamamagitan ng pagpigil sa signal na mawala o humina habang nasa axon. Next is Schwann. Ito yung Schwann cell. Ang gumagawa ng myelin at nagbibigay suporta sa axon. Kung masira ang axon, ang mga Schwann cells ang tumutulong sa pag-ayos nito. Node of Ranvier. Ito yung node of Ranvier. Ang mga electrical signal ay tumatalon mula node to node sa pagitan ng myelin sheath. Ang prosesong ito ay tinatawag na saltatory conduction na nagpapabilis sa paglipat ng signal. Axon terminal. Kung umabot ang signal sa axon terminal, naglalabas ito ng neurotransmitters, mga chemical na mensahero. Ang neurotransmitters ay tumatawid sa synapse, espasyo sa pagitan ng mga neurons, upang magpadala ng signal sa susunod na neuron, muscle, or gland.
Locomotion is any variety of movement that results into progression from one place to another. Animals have different ways of moving. Some movements are self-propelled, such as running, jumping, flying, soaring, and gliding, while others depend on their environment for mobility, like the heighting of some spiders, sailing of the jellyfish, and rolling of some beetles. There are a variety of reasons why animals move. Movement is mostly for food hunting, mating, survival from predators, and finding a better habitat. For many animals, the ability to move is essential for survival, and as a result, natural selection has shaped the locomotion methods for mechanisms used by moving organisms. For example, migratory animals that travel vast distance such as the Arctic tern typically have locomotion mechanisms that cost very little energy per unit distance, whereas non-migratory animals that most frequently move quickly to escape predators are like to have energetically cost but very fast locomotion. This is the example of locomotion movement. It's blurred, but it shows the movement of locomotion by moving to another place. That's was an example.